sitting here today in front of everyone and among you guys. So before we dive into it, I just want our panelists to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Cairo, and anything you want us to share in particular?
Maybe we can start off with a few sentences on what is your relationship to Buddhism and New Age spirituality has been in this journey that you're on.
Okay, so I was born to hippies in the 1970s, and therefore have kind of been around the milieu of what people might call New Age spirituality for 44 years now. And inside of my own spiritual adventures, of which my arm is kind of some kind of testament, that you won't be able to see it, but it's basically got 9 different traditions on that arm, which is to say that I've journeyed to varying degrees of depth with a whole range of different spiritualities, but of those, the one that rings most true for me in terms of the way that I perceive reality tends to be Buddhism.
And over to you, Long Pi.
Okay. You can call me Long Pi Arm, or my name is Monk Kaipish Sajatigo. I was born in 1989, and I'm born in the family in Thailand that have a strong belief in Buddhism. My mom really believed in Buddhism, and by the way, it helped me up that for me to not to do the bad things. And by the way, I'm not the great in Buddhism while I was a kid, and I have a chance to ordain after I graduated from computer engineering while I was 21. At the time, I did not think that I would be ordained so long. I just want to ordain to be a monk for only 3 months. But since I was a kid, I still have a questions about the success, because for me, I'm just be an Olympic in informatics, that the Olympic student in Thailand, in about computer, about programming. That's why I just got to pass an exam and can enroll into Longkorn University before I graduate. But why I can still in the university that I want to is not fulfilled inside of my heart. I still have a question is, what is the real happiness? Even though I have many successes since I was a kid, since I was undergraduate, since I still a student, I still have a question is, what can fulfill my heart? And by the way, my dad already died since I was around 12, and my granddad died around 20. And the Thai tradition is you need to ordain to get the merit to bring to the people who got to be the afterlife. So that's why I'm ordained, and I want to know that what the Buddhism and what is the real teaching of the Lord Buddha. And that I'm ordained until now is around 12 years right now. And for me, I found something inside, and right now I'm working on the field of helping people, especially in around students that in the college student that are helping them to get to know their emotion, about emotion intelligence. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Thanks.
Hello. Hello, I'm Marissa Cranfill. I was born in San Diego, California, and I grew up on the ocean, so I always felt the energy of the ocean. It's very powerful. We literally lived on the edge of a cliff. And I knew there was something there that was more than this life. So I was always interested in knowing. And then my mother, who's back here, she started a company, a silk company in Thailand when I was 12 and brought me here. And I saw the Buddha for the first time. First time, 12 years old, this huge gold Buddha and all these Thai people praying, and so beautiful and peaceful. And I said, he knows. He knows the answer, something. When we got back from that trip, my father passed away. I was 12. Yeah. And so of course I had an existential kind of crisis. I just got boobs and a period, you're a teenager. And so I dove down yoga, Hinduism, every religion, books, reading. Finally, I graduated high school and I went straight to Asia to study. Mom was in Thailand a lot at that time anyway. And I studied Buddhism. I studied comparative religion. I lived in temples in Japan, in Thailand, in China, in Taiwan. And I wrote a thesis on comparative meditation technique. So that's the Buddhist side. I'm Buddhist. I still practice today and teach. And the New Age side is that I also studied Qigong and yoga, and through studying traditional Qigong in China, but I came to come up with a system that I call Yoji, which is a very New Age system, but it's not so New Age. So we can talk more about this. And then the last thing we can bring in is the spirit house tradition, because at the same time I was so fascinated by the spirit houses in Thailand and the animism and the Hinduism and the mythology. So I feel this plays a big role in also the New Age culture. So I know a lot about spirit houses. That's another topic. But I'll pass the mic and we can continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Marissa. Thanks, everyone. I'm even more honored now hearing all of your stories, being a Bangkok and Buddhist, born and raised in Bangkok in this tradition, and to be here and seeing all these different cultures that I was exposed to throughout my life. So I was born and raised in a Theravada Buddhist household as well, but I do not sound very Thai right now because I was exposed to a lot of Western culture as well. And while I'm extremely grateful to have grown up in the Buddhist culture, understanding meditation since I was really young and being taught Buddhist wisdom, it was very complex for a young girl to grasp the concept of Buddhism and its complexity of life and death. And even until today, it's still very abstract and complex to adults as well. And I'm definitely still on that journey. But it was New Age spirituality actually that helped me find my way back to Buddhism, to my Buddhist roots, through the inner child work, through the shadow work, and discovering who I am, who my authentic self is, which is ironic because in Buddhism I was taught to detach myself from the self, right? Detach myself from my identity. Yet this journey of discovering myself helped me connect back to Buddhism, its teaching and the practices. Yeah. So my question is to throw back at anyone who'd like to take it. Is it important for us to have an identity? You guys have all shared your story, and I believe that they've all been important parts of your journey and who you are and the things that you share with others as well. Yeah. Who would like to take this question?
So question, is it important to have an identity?
Yes.
I'll kick off.
Okay.
So, yes and no. It's helpful to have a continuity of a sense of self in as much as it helps us to establish, maintain and grow our relations. It helps us to have various needs met, I believe, such as belonging. It helps us to have a sense of common understanding, and yet the very thing that can create a freedom and understanding in our relations can also act like a prison. Yeah. So we look at the id entity, this thing which is seeking to keep itself in various ways the same as it was before, and everything has changed. And so if we are in the grip of something which is insisting that I am a continuity, well then in a sense we're closing ourselves down to the reality of we are in fact awareness in which all things that appear are an apparition, everything is creating everything else, and any sense of an independent identity is to a significant degree an illusion, something that we are grasping onto. It can also be a hell of a lot of fun to have identity. You know, so it's not just those things of understanding, etc. It's also that we can laugh at things together. We can, go on adventures of the mind and of the spirit through our shared identities. So I want to say, on the one hand, to my awareness or consciousness, it's a fiction. To the human experience, it's a very significant reality.
Yeah. How about you, Lumpy? You are an influencer, but also a monk. How do you make sense of this concept of non-attachment and having a presence online?
In fact, before answer that question, in fact, all of us had an identity, even though we don't want to. We already have an identity that we gave a birth, where we are, what race are we, and to know our identity well is to mean you can be not attached about it. You can't deny yourself. By the way, when you accept yourself, you is not different from the other. It's the concept of identity is a thing that you need just to know, to have an aware to yourself, not to be that you are not different with the other within the core of mind. We are not different. It's how you say, it's just an external thing that we see each other, and when we know that what we are looking into the each other, when the external thing may be different, but inside we are the same. It means that you are, when you know what your identity are, it means that you know it to be aware of it. It's not to know it to be attached of it. So when you talk about non-attachment, it's not about you deny out the thing that everything in yourself, deny out everything. It's about to accept everything as the same. But before you can accept, you need to know who you are first. That you know what you are attached to first. If you didn't know that what you are attached to, you cannot release it.
Yes.
And you cannot express the love and kindness to the other. Yeah. And for me, then right now I'm trying to done the thing in social media. It's not about done for me to be famous. The real question is about why I'm doing it. It's not about what I'm doing it. If I'm doing it because I want to be famous, because I want to be more well known, I think that is the wrong way, because I'm trying to attach more in my identity. But if you've done something because you want to spread the love forward, or spread the great thing forward, it's okay, and you need to remind yourself that what you are doing, that you did not get into the delusion and lose yourself to be strict with something. That's just like a famous, just like I think that the viewer that view on your video or something like that. Because we did it, for me as a monk, I didn't done it as a job. I done it as a thing that I can help the other, just like that.
Yeah, so we can really see how this is a practical application in the world that we live in today of what non-attachment can look like. But I wonder, what was your first impression when you heard about this concept in the academic, in your academic experience, and how have you applied that to your life today?
Well, in the academic experience, it's a lot of mind, right? So, of course, I was thinking of non-attachment, non-self in the literal sense of there's no self, it's just an aggregate of parts, as Buddhist texts say. But as Lumpy said, it's being aware of the self that exists. And every time that self arises, and that's what meditation is all about, it's about staring at ourself, our raw, bare self, so that you can see it. And when it arises, the light of awareness sees it. And then it has less grasp over your decisions, over your intentions, over your life. So it took practice to balance the academic aspect, if that's the answer to your question. Yeah, took the practice.
What were the practices that you were able to cultivate?
In the Buddhist tradition, Vipassana was a big one. So Vipassana meditation, it's insight meditation, and then we did Zen. Zen Chan Buddhism is really just empty mind. And Pure Land in China is a lot of devotion, which brings in the heart aspect. So bringing up the compassion. You know, you've seen Guan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion. She's very Chinese Bodhisattva. It's Tibet also, but popular in China. And this intention that you speak of coming from a virtuous state of love and loving kindness and goodness, they cultivate these states, these virtuous states of the Brahmaviharas, of compassion, so that it infuses their whole life and their intentions. So that's how they do it in China. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and you mentioned Vipassana as a tool, right, to be able to detach from this identity that we have in our brains or our mind. In our tradition, we call kind of like the center of the body, the mind, which I think in New Age spirituality could also be called the heart, whereas the head, the brain is more so in the mind. But going on that topic of meditation and Vipassana and how it helps us detach and see things clearly, this is also another roadblock that I personally found throughout my journey towards integrating Buddhism with New Age spirituality as well. Where sometimes, when you are starting your healing journey, when you're in a really difficult state, it is helpful to have this dream, or we can call it a manifestation of what we want our lives to look like, of how we envision who we should become. And there are certain times where that can be really useful to guide us to hope, right? Guide us out of challenging times. But on the other side of the teachings from Buddhism is neutrality, and how seeing reality neutrally is a really core part of meditation in Buddhism. So yeah, I just want to open the floor to talking about the importance of seeing things clearly, seeing things neutrally. How do we see things clearly and neutrally and ground ourselves in reality while still having this hope to strive for something better, something beyond what we have today? Yeah. Lumpy, would you like to say that?
I'm okay. When you talk about practicing meditation or try to see the thing, when you talk about try to see the thing clearly, we will talk about meditation. Sometimes we call about meditation. But for me, when I talk about meditation, you need to know the essence of it. And sometimes people think that meditation is about to calm your mind. Yes, it's true, but more than that, it make your mind have a powerful, because the knowledge cannot change the thing inside yourself. Many times you know that you shouldn't be angry. Many times you know that you shouldn't be shout at your mom, at your dad, at your kids, at your partner. But many times you can't stop yourself, because in the Buddhism way we call that your mind do not have a power enough to stop yourself. Your ego is strong more than your mind can handle it. So the meditation is about to make your mind calm and be neutral, to see the thing as it is, to be still and know. And there will be something inside yourself that grew up. For the Lord Buddha say that when you want to be the real happiness inside, it's not about to be happy from the external factor. It's about that whatever external factor be, you can be calm inside. It's not about the Lord Buddhism way. So when you can calm inside, and by the way, you've done the cause, and let's see the effect of it. Many times we are focusing about the result of the thing we done. We do not focus the thing that what we done today. For the Lord Buddha told that when you want to go to the nirvana, it's not about that your mind at the nirvana. It's about your mind at today to done the cause of it, and let the thing happen and see what thing that happened and learn from it and done it better. So, and more than that, it's about that you love everything that already happened. even though it is not come into your way. It's not, you don't want it to be that way. You just need to learn, and done the thing better and better. It isn't about we are exit from the reality. It isn't about that we are not doing anything. It's about we done anything with the purified mind. That don't expect with the result. Just see, just be still and know, and learning from it. That's about to train oneself in the Buddhism way. I think that is all for now.
Yeah. How do you see? How do you balance between the two?
Well, one thing I can share from personal experience, after meditating for, I don't know, over 20 years, 30 years, I realized that if you just sit and you just meditate, it's not necessarily going to solve all the problems and change everything in your life. It's a combination of a life experience, karma, because you must live and go through the actual raw life experience and see how your thoughts, words, and actions play back and come back to you. And every time you have an experience, for me, it's like hits me in the face. Oh, okay, see that one, that's what I did, and it's an awareness. It's like a meditation because it's awareness just coming to me. And the more you meditate, the more you purify the mind, the more clearly you see those experiences so that you don't repeat them. And yes, you can have better experiences and be wise, cultivate wisdom. Yeah. So that's how taking neutrality into life is. Longpo already explained about not attaching to the goals, but also being present with seeing your life experiences and what you've chosen and how it's coming back.
Yeah, I wanted to add, whilst neutrality is a beautiful gateway for being able to develop equanimity, for example, there is also, it creates a space, a creative space of that which we wish to introduce. So Buddhism, of course, is full of invocation. Just as much as it's full of Buddhist practice of observation, it also has invocation. It has the focus on metta, of developing seeds of kindness, seeds of love inside of us as well. And in a certain sense, we can see them as an inflection, a non-neutral inflection towards something which is of benefit, of merit for us and for others. I think that's important to recognize, because sometimes when we're talking about Buddhism, people can think it has this kind of dispassionate, cold and removed aspect. And yet at the same time, we can actually see inside of Buddha's teachings, there's very much a focus on clearing consciousness to then plant the seeds which are going to be of benefit for ourselves and other beings. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank you for segueing into my next topic for me, Nairo. But before, we're going to talk about compassion. But before that, I just want to ask you a follow-up question on, do you think seeing things neutrally is something that we practice in New Age spirituality?
The term New Age spirituality is really problematic. There's as many different definitions as there are people in the room, I think. And that's to say that some people believe very much in things which are, there's a spectrum from astrology, where there is prescriptive elements, and we work with those different kinds of designs to be able to see what's going on, through to things which are very on the rational spectrum, self-inquiry based, even things which are inside of the therapeutic realm come into this domain, as you started to allude to in your own experience of New Age spirituality, which is my way of saying yes and no. New Ageism has been accused of being a highly narcissistic area as well, where people are focused very much on me, my healing journey, my suffering, my pain, my betterment, my results, etc. And we see this, that's playing out on Instagram each and every day in various kinds of ways. And so, yes and no,
That's a really great point on, ultimately everything that we're talking about, the yes and the no to every question is for us to find our own middle way, find our own balance to that, right? And the other side of the spectrum, the opposite from the more like narcissistic way of kind of healing and focusing on the self, there is another spectrum on the other end that is something that I am also kind of grappling with, which is rooted in growing up understanding compassion as this act of making sacrifices. And as someone who's an activist and an advocate and have dedicated my life to advocating for mental health, and it pains me to say this because I founded a workplace well-being company, but I'm still trying to find the balance between my purpose and having compassion for myself. And growing up in Thai culture as well, where respecting others and this culture of giving is so beautiful, but sometimes we tend to give to others more than ourselves. So I just want to discuss about how you all find the balance between having compassion for yourself and giving service to others, because what we're doing is important. I was reading a report on WHO how they said suicide is the leading cause for death in youth. And mental health is not being prioritized in the world compared to everything else that is talked about in the mainstream. So I believe that all of us have dedicated our lives in advocating for mental health and well-being. And how do you all find the balance in doing that while still having compassion for yourself and prioritizing your own work as well?
So my intention with my work is being in service and sharing the gifts that I have. And I think one of the keys to maintaining a healthy, compassionate state is non-judgment. Non-judgment of myself and non-judgment of others. Regardless of the situation, because we all get in many situations with people that they misunderstand something I say or project something on me that is like, wow. And so it's really staying in a state of non-judgment, holding space in a compassionate way, not taking things personally, but being able to hold that space in love and stay neutral in a sense. Compassionate is kind of a neutrality because it's not personal. It's nothing personal about it. It's radiant. It's transcendent. And yes, so, and then applying that towards myself as well. So not picking on myself and doing compassion meditations and for myself. Yeah.
Lopi, would you say non-judgment is the antidote to not having compassion for oneself?
Okay, before going to that, I want to know, I want to talk about the act of service. When you service a people, what does it mean to you and what does it mean to the other? And what is the love for oneself is meaning? For some people, love for oneself is mean you done the great thing for your life, that's all. Love for yourself, it means that you are done the great thing, you heal yourself, that's all. But for me, when you expand your mind, all the people in this room is already crossed a path with your life. And they are also in your life, already in your life right now. Everybody in this room already in your life. If you hate someone in this, it means that you hate some point of your life. So the act of service isn't about loving the other, or maybe you can call it loving the other, but it's already a love for yourself, and love the other is the same. Because we are all in each other's life all the time. It's not the thing that personal in this life, or the thing even though you are in your house, your sound still connect to the house next to you. There are nothing that personal for me. Every people that cause the part of your life are being in your life. Or you can call that if you hate something in the past, you are hate yourself right now too. Or if you hate someone in your life, it means that you hate yourself too. So to the act of service that you serve it to the other is necessarily is about the point of view that what and why you do that act of service. You do because you want to be someone. You do because you desire. Or you do it because you are already full of love with yourself and the other. It depends on why, not what. And when you can define your why, you need to meditate and remind yourself. It's necessary to remind in this point of view because it's really easier to be yourself, to have an ego, to only focus on me, I, my, me again. And it's not easy, it's not that easy, so that you need to remind yourself and need to climb down with meditation. For me, I'm still in a part of that. That to be the mind of neutrality. It means that I love everyone, but I'm always respect what it should be. I done the thing that I should done, and that's all of me. I can't do more than this. And I respect every result that it should be and learning from it. It means neutrality, that you did not happy or sadness because of the external factor that come to you. And may I add up from her that she talk about that when you work on something, it make you learn about neutrality more. Because if you stay yourself in the forest and you didn't do anything, there will be no external factor that come up to you, and you did not see your mind clearly. Because I have a chance in a monk, I have a chance to meditate all the time, morning, late morning, afternoon, and until the night for around 1 year, not doing anything, only meditate. And that helped me much, but it's necessary for me to go out from there and see to the reality world and see what external factor that still affect me and see what the cause inside, what the point of view of me that needs to be correct to be more and more purified mind. I think that's answer your question.
I just wanted to add, in addition to things that you guys have shared, the importance of the interpersonal aspect of compassion. Very often, that which we may sense that we are struggling to have compassion for inside of ourselves, we will tend to have shame in relation to it and hide from others. And I had this wonderful experience when I was 21, and I did a sweat lodge for my first time, Native American Indian ceremony. And I was in a circle of men, and something inside of me went, it's safe here. I can let down the mask, and the fear that I carried with me, the anxiety that I carried with me, the sadness that I carried with me, kind of like a strange champagne burst out of me. And on the other side of this ceremony, I had man after man come up to me and say, thank you. You know, you cried my heart out. And there's this thing of sharing that which I struggle with inside of myself with others with a sense of transparency that then can allow in the potential acceptance and compassion of others for me to have great compassion for myself. I've been together with my wife for 16 years, and she has turned the light of acceptance and compassion towards me many times before I've been able to do that for myself. And one of the things I will say about this hodgepodge New Age interspiritual kind of thing that we have going on in the Western world is that we've lost also inside of that some of the practices. We were talking before about confession. Yeah, and confession is like maybe they've got the guts to go to a counselor or to do some kind of therapy, and then there is a form of confession that can take place inside of that. But that is an integral kind of tool that we can have to divulge ourselves, to go, I have compassion for myself to the degree that I will share myself, and then in the light of potential acceptance of others, have that land in another kind of way. So that's one of, along with the turning kind eyes towards myself, neutrality, etc. Another part is having the courage to also share ourselves with others.
Yeah, it's really beautiful because I think for a lot of us, when we start our healing journey or self-discovery journey, we see it as this, you know, I'm gonna go up to the mountain and live by myself and lock myself in solitude and find myself, right? But in the end, we're all sitting here seeing the importance of a spiritual community and that connection. And the Buddha did always say that the spiritual path is 100%. The spiritual friends is like 100% the path of the spiritual path, because you know someone did introduce you to the healing journey or the self-development journey, and without one another we won't be able to progress to where we are today as well. Yeah. I have a feeling. Are you okay if we take Q&A? Do we have any questions? I see a few curious faces. Yes. Yes.
Actually, not the question, but when you were talking about being of service, I wanted to bring the fifth panel member, Anita Marjani. She's an inspirational person in my life. She said something that was very meaningful to me in this sense. She said that if you are a servant, it depletes you. This mindset of being a servant and take care of your mother-in-law all the time because you have to. But being of service is very nourishing to you, and that was the big difference. And it was a light bulb. So I wanted to add that to the discussion. So being of service versus being a servant.
Thanks, Olga.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I want to add up something.
Please.
In fact, for me, the confession is the thing that the Lord Buddha told that for the monk, that you need to confess to each other what the thing you have done or what the thing that you feel wrong about yourself. And it is the thing that you need to do every day. Because when we're not authentic to ourselves, we cannot see the reality. We cannot exit from the reality. And for me, I found it really helped me while I was ordained for 6 years, while I was still in around 27, it's around 6 or 7 years ago. Yes, I just know that at that time that I did not love my mom at all. For my entire life, I just recognized that it doesn't mean that I didn't really love my mom, but it's in fact that I did not have a bond with them, or I did not have a bond in my life that I call mom in my aspect. I just know that this woman loved me and I love her, but I did not accept her as a mom because she did not accept as my aspect. So at that time when I confess it and I accept it, when you confess something, you can be authentic to yourself and you can accept yourself more and more. And when you accept yourself and because the meditation that I always practice help me to be still and until I know my mind, I know my pattern, I know what the thing that drives me inside to want to be accepted, or sometimes to be dominate to dominate someone or to be servant for someone, because I did not done it because I love myself or love them. And the first of all, to be compassionate with the other is about to be compassionate with your life from the past until the present, or the thing that already happened to yourself is the thing that stood to you, and the thing that made you to be you today. If you deny it, it means you deny some part of yourself that you cannot be corrected. And there have many things from now to beyond that you will be not like it. And if you did not love or embrace it with the compassion, you cannot move on. Some of the kid inside yourself, some of the part inside yourself will be hatred yourself. So love and compassion for the Lord Buddha say is about to embrace yourself. And before you can embrace, you need to be still and know what you did not embrace yourself. And that's why the meditation every day help. Yeah, I want to add up for it because I heard about you that you find something when you confess the thing that you're burdened inside. Yes, for me, I did not even know it's a blind spot of me. I did not even know that it's a burden inside me. And when I realize it, I know that I need to teaching this way of method to be easier to be accessed. So that's why right now I'm come up I call the thing that I teaching is about the Buddhism psychology because I combine the method that you can be accept and confess to yourself. It means that you can really love yourself and not running from it anymore. You cannot run or hide. Maybe it's easier to run or hide or be in other society to make yourself calm, but you cannot deny who you are. And to be accept yourself is the part to be selfless. That's all. Yeah. Because I heard your story and it remind me.
Just building on this, in terms of acceptance, and it's coming back to something you said as well earlier in terms of when we were talking about Sangha. Something that's interesting is more a reflection on what I'm going to call New Age or alternative spirituality. Very often there's some kind of agreement that we have of we will validate each other's identities and everyone will be okay. We won't challenge each other too much. We try and find what's the right words to use, what are the right clothes to wear, what are the things that will make us acceptable inside of this. And please excuse me if this is not your experience, but it can be in certain instances pseudo-community. What do I mean? It's community at the level of identity, but not necessarily community at the level of experience. And those are two very different things. An identity community is we are like-minded, we validate each other. And there can be the beautiful aspects to like-mindedness, especially if that like-mindedness involves strong truth. But there's also one of these things which I look towards you and go, you're a part of a Sangha. And I think back for myself, until the age of 28, I'd had various communities that I was a part of, but it was only when I was 28 that I became part of this community called Warrior Being, based on teachings from Tamil Nadu. But we were a group and we met once a week and we had a retreat once a month and we did this for about 5 years together. And over these 5 years, I learned what everyone's breath sounded like. I got that level of interbeing, which is there. And that is not necessarily an easy thing for us to construct in our modern world. It literally takes time. And I think it's one of the things which is undervalued inside of alternative New Age spirituality is the patience that it can take both in our journey with ourselves, the patience that it can take in our journey with others, for us to be able to touch upon real depths of truth with each other, with ourselves. In our microwave culture, it can be so very, I want to go and do the 2 or 3 day retreats or the very quick fix. And in my experience, it's a patient process. And that's part of the compassion as well, is the patience. Oh, I'm still like that. All right.
to be patient with the other can be reflect to ourselves that what we are starting to. If you can't be patient to the other, it means that there's something inside yourself that you need to learn from it. Yeah. For me, I think like that.
I read a few years ago, patience is the only virtue because it's only in the absence of patience you need the others.
Wow. Would you like to add something? Yeah, so we have 5 minutes left, and I see this is such a beautiful conversation, and there's the key themes that I see is really this internal work that we're doing with ourselves. It's crucial that we do it in parallel with the external work, that we can be of service to others and the world, and we can only do that by having compassion. But first we must have compassion for ourselves and share that with others. So before we end, let's do a little compassion and stillness meditation so that we can leave this room and put this into action as well. Yeah. Lopi, would you like to lead us in a short meditation?
Okay.
I love you.
I'm laughing because of, in fact, for me, I want to tell all of you that I rarely use English. In my daily life, I'm rarely use English. Yeah, I have an experience and I can talk because I'm learned it since about the years. And when I grew up, I rarely use it. I just read it and listen to it. But I rarely have a chance to talk in the long like this. Yeah, so in deep down inside, I'm still have a little nervous. But I still have a little nervous that okay, I cannot explain clearly what I'm thinking to all of you guys. But by the way, it's okay. I still love myself that I have a nervous. because the last thing before we meditate, because the thing that I learned from my mother is I always hate when my mother expect me, and I told that why you didn't accept me as I am. And at that time, I know that I did not accept her as she are, as she are too. I didn't accept my mom as she always expect to me. I tried to change her too, and at that time, I found what the love is. Because love is just love, it's nothing more than that. It's about you are embrace everything that she be and she not. Yeah, something like that. And she will be in the future. So right now, just we are taking a little time to be meditate. So right now, first of all, we need to relax ourselves. We need to relax ourselves from head to toes. Recheck on every part of your body. The neck, the shoulder, your back, your leg, your foot. Relax as it can be right now. And bring yourself with your breath. You are here. Please bring your mind here too. Be with your breath. Inhale, exhale, and feel it. Feel the breath that comes inside your body. Feel the breath that comes inside your body. Feel the feeling that you are feeling right now. When you be with your breath for a while, and your mind already calm, just not focus about the breath. You can breathe normally. Just focus about the feeling inside. Feel yourself. Feel the comfortable feeling inside yourself. When you take a deep breath inside, there will be some comfortable feeling inside yourself. Just be with it. Just feel it. Right now, embrace every feeling that you feel right now for a minute. If there are some wandering thoughts that come to you, just be still and know that your mind are wandering. Don't need to punish yourself or pull your mind back so hard. Just be still and know that you are thinking right now and it's okay. the last minute of this session. Feeling grateful and feeling thankful. You are you today because of many people that come across your life. You are not you today because by yourself. Thankful and grateful. Think about the people that make you to become you today for a minute, for a silent minute. Just slowly open your eyes and smile to the guys next to you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Loki, thank you, Carl, thank you, Marissa. Thank you, everyone, for joining our conversation. Do we need to set up?
Yeah, circle of
Into a
chairs.
circle.
Yeah.
It's your workshop,
It
right?
is.
So maybe we can do one question. Can we do a question? Do we have time?
Yeah,
or-
we can do a question.
Okay, one question, okay.
My question, I have two questions. The first my question is, I grew up in the place they don't have experience in meditation. I grew up in Muslim community. I'm from Muslim community. But that side I'm from East Africa. But the place I grew up, they don't believe about meditation. Meditation and belief is a different. After many years, I learned for myself. I know separate about that. Meditation is a meditation. But, and then first time I confused, as a place I grew up, the meditation we use as we pray as a meditation.
Yes.
We have that one. But we don't believe or we don't have experience or learn meditate or how to meditate or how to learn to meditate. And also we don't believe in a mental health or that side. We as a society for me. And then after that place I born, I don't feel comfortable when I was after 1 year, that place I don't feel place is helping me for me. Because I remember when you say I born California near the sea. For me I born near the mountain. But I feel like that place is not my place. And then when I was 17, I traveled that place I born. And then I feel I born place not have something because I feel like. And then after when I travel 3 countries, I come here, I feel I can't breathe. And then I feel I come the place, that place is helping me for me. But still I don't have about experience meditation. But just I feel this country I can't breathe. But after that, I find many things and I learn meditation to mix for my belief, for my where I come from. What I learned when I was young, how to pray, how to connect the meditation I learned after now when I come here. But still, sometimes
Just to
when
let you know, people are.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When I feel something, I cannot catch up for my belief in problems. Yeah, and then what I learn now as a meditation to use when I feel like sometimes I offer feel I cannot catch up to to mix or to catch up one time. Then my question is how easy is the way to retreat? My question is from thank you.
Okay. Okay. For me, you can separate the thing about the belief and meditation. By the way, you can pray as meditation. For me, when we cut out what the religion means, I'm just had a teacher called the Lord Buddha. You just had a teacher, or you just had a supreme teacher that you call maybe Allah or something like that. For me, I will answer in short thing is about even though we have a different teacher and or different method, we are on the way of healing our mind. So the meditation is a method to healing your mind. It does not depend on the method, on the you just sit, you can pray. But the necessary thing is about where your mind should be placed. When you pray, you do not place your mind for asking for something. You just place your mind inside yourself to love yourself. That's all. It's all get along with meditate. I think that I'm not sure that I can answer it clearly in the short time, but I think that it can get along with everything that you've done in your religion. Just where to place your mind and where your mind should be.
Thank you so much, everybody. If you're able just to take chairs to the side of the room, and then people can get them from there to join us.